Well, let's take the momentum from 88 through to EFC 89 because it is one of the best cards we've seen in quite some time. From the prelims all the way through to the main card, it is an absolutely cracking event. The prelim headliner particularly featuring a debut coming out of Ireland, even though the chap's Zimbabwean. Takedowns fighting out of Ireland, he's Zimbabwean, take on Aziashu Tsitsamba. I mean, both guys are finishers, but neither have been finished. They're just going to meet in the middle, aren't they, Demar?
I believe so. I mean, the thing with Aziashu, when he shows up, he really shows up. I mean, he had an amazing KO, possibly KO of the year against Billy Oosthuizen. After that, I mean, you've just seen that maybe it was too comfortable because of that KO. Maybe he himself thought his stock was too high now. I don't know if he stopped training as hard as he was. So I don't know what happened with Aziashu, you know. I feel that there's certain fights that he should have easily won. I think even in the fight with Manengela, I just feel that his takedown defense was honestly not in par with what we've seen him do in the Hexagon. I feel that if he does show up, he's definitely a very dangerous striker. He is good on the ground as well. He's able to defend submissions. But having said that, when you get a guy that was so good as an amateur, obviously in Ireland doing that well, you don't know how they're going to perform in the professional scene. I mean, it's very different. You're in a different country, altitude. You know, there's so much pressure. They're grooming you to be this next superstar. So I mean, who knows what this kid is going to bring? It's definitely not just a surefire way you've been dominating the amateur scene. Now all of a sudden you're going to be this next superstar. So he's still got a really massive task ahead of him. Aziashu is a good striker as a finisher, and on the ground as well, it's not a slop there. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, Takedowns, I mean, Zimbabwean fighting in Ireland. He's managed by Cathal Pendred, and it gives me the idea that he's had a very well-managed career. I mean, he's been fighting everyone in amateurs. He's fought at Cage Warriors. I mean, he's got such momentum behind him in amateurs. It's almost like his career has been well managed and well manicured to the point where he's such a hot fighter right now that at the moment he's turning pro, he's being thrown into the Hexagon against a knockout artist like Aziashu Tsitsamba. And like you said, I mean, that whole amateur career is one very different thing. But when you step into that Hexagon under those big lights against a guy who's got several pro wins, like 4 in a row Aziashu Tsitsamba had, it's a very different prospect. Okay, let's get straight through to what I think is the fight of the night. It's easily Cole Henning against August Kaimbala. Both these guys, Demar, have been calling out people left, right, and center, and everyone's dodging them. Very interesting characters, very stoic, very still waters run deep kind of guys. You never know what you're going to get with them, but they're absolute natural-born killers. This is the fight of the night for EFC 89, surely.
I honestly believe so. I mean, Cole Henning has got a massive left hand. He's got a lot of knockout power. He had a massive resurgence now, obviously, after hadn't fought for so long. Came out there, won his first fight, coming back with a KO. His last fight, I think the problem with Serge is that Serge was going back too much. He wasn't engaging. So he didn't have a great dancing partner. I feel now with Kaimbala is going to come forward. I don't feel that Kaimbala is going to strike a lot with him with Cole. I feel that Kaimbala might have a better advantage if he does take the fight to the ground. But Cole on the ground is also very good on the ground. So I feel that the more well-rounded fighter is Cole Henning in this fight. But in terms of having that strength, I feel that Kaimbala is a little bit stronger than Cole Henning. So it's a very interesting fight, you know, depends what the fight is going to happen. But Cole Henning loves to strike, so he's possibly going to just try and keep the fight on the feet, and then Kaimbala trying to get the fight to the ground. So I think that tussle there of striking and getting that takedown, that wrestling, is going to be very interesting, but it's a very difficult fight to call.
Yeah, they're both rising stars who unfortunately hadn't any dance partner to rise against, like you said. But like someone like the barista August Kaimbala, he wants to take Ronaldo Exon on for the title. Cole Henning also wants to head up the title. It's just been unfortunate that people keep dodging them, but they're such dangerous guys, and yet finally they're going to meet in the middle, and one of them is going to have his title ambitions shelved.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure. I think Kaimbala as well, I mean, I've been friends with him for a while. He's had many difficulties due to COVID. He didn't find a good gym also to train with. So luckily now he's back in Cape Town. He's managed to get a job and also being able to train. So I think he's more stable now in terms of that. He's putting in better work now. But Cole Henning, I mean, has been training with Conrad. They push really hard. I think they have this military type of, you know, regime where, you know, you got to show up, put in that hard hours, and then then make sure you're a hard guy. So in Cole, Henning is a very hard guy, and it comes out to fight. So I feel it's going to be a difficult fight for both of them. Who's ever going to want it more is going to get it, I'm sure.
And then you've got Cole Henning's superb knockout of Rod the Trigger Kenner. I mean, both these guys have got everything on the feet, on the ground, wherever it goes, they're going to go to war.
Obviously, Cole Henning, I mean, he loves to strike, and he's very, very good on the ground. That's the thing that people mustn't forget, you know. He does say that he doesn't really like to fight on the ground, but he's a very good grappler. So I think if Kaimbala goes in there and neglects that fact, he might even get submitted. So I feel that Cole is a better MMA fighter. I think he's more well-rounded in that fight. So Kaimbala needs to be careful, even if the fight goes to the ground, even though he likes to finish it on the ground.
Kenyeb also on this card. It's another big event for BIA. These guys are really starting to represent, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, those guys, they're like so many of them in the gym, putting in a massive amount of work. Conrad is an outgoing guy, you know, very vocal, wants to be there, is always pushing the guy. So he's got that good energy in that gym. I feel that the guys there, you know, they're putting in good work. I feel that they want to come out, they want to fight. Anicet, I mean, I know this guy for a very long time. He was my first boxing coach back in 2010. We've trained together for a while. I mean, we were in Undisputed there by the University of Pretoria. So I know Anicet for a very long time, you know, I like the guy. He's transitioned so well. I mean, he was boxing in the DRC. He's had over 40 boxing fights. Comes to South Africa, what is the in thing, finds mixed martial arts, has had the most fights now in EFC, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, the guy is just transitioned well into mixed martial arts. He's able to now use his striking, boxing, and then also be able to defend the fight on the ground. He's very good submission defense, very good wrestling defense. I mean, having said that, I mean, the guy's a complete mixed martial artist, but finding a guy like Igor Cabeza, what can we say? He's only lost against Danny Henry, and obviously now the recent loss. Very, very good wrestler. He's also been able to knock guys out. I mean, what can I say? I think Igor is one of the most skilled fighters that we have in the whole roster. I was quite concerned in the last fight when I saw him at the weigh-in. It looked extremely skinny, he looked malnutrition, to be honest. I feel that the weight cut really affected him. So now coming in this fight, you know, he's obviously going to fight as a lightweight, and then it doesn't have to cut as much weight. So I feel that he's going to have a huge advantage because of that. And then I think Igor, if he goes out there, does what he does best, multiple wrestling champion, I feel that he needs to wrestle Anicet, make him tired, and then possibly finish the fight with a TKO.
Yeah, it seemed to be that was the strategy of Elena Lunga, which was Anicet Kenyeb's last loss for that title fight, and it really was a grounding out, wasn't it? But then you have Igor Cabeza, who when he loses, it seems to be pure complacency. His only 2 losses have been by submission. It seems like sometimes he comes in a bit complacent, yet when he's focused and he's had a great fight camp, he is one of the best in the world. I mean, I really think, I've said it again and again, that Igor Cabeza really could be in the top 10 in any MMA promotion on the planet. When he's on his day, he's unbeatable. Yeah,
absolutely. I think the problem is that guys that have this natural talent, I mean, Igor has been winning in his amateur scene undefeated for so long. Obviously, in the wrestling space, he was possibly one of the best wrestlers in the country. Even in training, like, he just picks up techniques so easily. But there's a curse for the skilled guys, you know. Once you're so skilled, you get complacent. You don't put as much work in that you feel that you need because you feel that you're already that good enough. So I feel that's the case with Igor. You know, he's a very good fighter, very skilled, but because of that, he now is complacent, doesn't put as much work as he should. And that's, I mean, it didn't pay off that well for him. So if now he's more motivated, obviously he lost, now he wants to come back. I feel that he can easily beat Anicet. I mean, easily in a sense that if he just does what he does well, which is the wrestling. I think Igor's wrestling is a lot better than Anicet. I've trained with both of them for quite a lot of time. I mean, I know them well. That's the advantage. But if he strikes with Anicet will be able to knock him out, I'm sure.
I think you're right when you say confidence is the key, but let's look at the confidence of Anicet Kenyeb. That loss to Elena Lunga, I mean, the fight prep for him was terrible. His coach got knocked out backstage just before he came and walked out. Oh, I mean, he was stressing around during the weigh-ins, like his MRI scans hadn't come through, and he wasn't in the right place. But when Anicet Kenyeb, equally the same as Igor Cabeza, is confident and cocky, because he really shows that attitude when you see him at weigh-ins and you see him walk out, you automatically know when Anicet Kenyeb is on his game, he's got that cocky attitude. And when he's like that, he's also a very, very difficult prospect in all areas of the hexagon.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, you know, I think Anicet has been the most improved fighter that I've seen in the EFC. I mean, coming out as a pure striker in the sense of that boxing space, and then now obviously being able to kick, strike, take guys down, defend takedowns, defend submission. I mean, that fight with Coxon, was it Coxon? Not Coxon, the fight that he had with the guy from Durban, the 30-second monster, what's his name?
Saxon Delafield.
Yes, Saxon Delafield. I mean, that was a war. That armbar was in for so long. I mean, defended so many submissions. But look at him, you know, he won the fight. Very good performance on the feet. Has knocked out a lot of the guys that have been in the EFC for so long. So I feel like Annie Sedimane has found his ground. He now knows where his weaknesses are. Obviously, it was the wrestling and then getting held down, which Igor can do all day, all night. So I feel that if he doesn't work on that leading up to the fight, it's going to be another long night for him.
Yeah, bad implications for the loser. Great possibility for the future for the winner.
Absolutely.
Well, Demont, that takes us to the main event of the evening. After that cracking co-main, and it's another 5-round war between Lutando Biko and Kazimolo Zulu. Let's just talk about their previous fights, because in Kazimolo Zulu, he's coming off a win, but he didn't really look on point. I mean, it's great to have him back because he's one of the most feared strikers we've ever had in the EFC and a veteran of the sport on the continent. But his last fight, there was still some questions over this performance, even though it was a victory.
You know, I think like most people, he's had quite a few problems in the last year or so due to the regulations and all the lockdowns. So he had to go back home. He was working here in the PI, and obviously it was closed down. He's got quite a few kids as well, so I think he's struggled quite a lot in the last year or so. And then now he's obviously trying to get this resurgence. He's training from back home, where he's doing possibly mostly karate. That's his background. Then he did the karate, then he did the K1, which is at a stage Kazimolo Zulu was ranked 16th in the world in K1. I mean, his striking is unbelievable. He's transitioned very, very well into the mixed martial arts. He's fought for the title. He's became champion, lost it, and you know. So he's got this career where I think in his last stages, this fight is a really defining fight for him. He's fighting for the title again. Not a lot of guys have that opportunity to fight for the title. But having said that, I mean, fighting a guy like Biko, very, very accomplished grappler, judoka, has been doing very, very well in that scene. He's only lost twice, obviously now to JP Bass, who's fighting in the UFC, and Bokang Masinyani, who's fighting in one championship. I mean, he's lost to only the top guys in the division. I feel that in this fight, the way Biko wins this fight is that grinding out type of fight, which is ideal for him. You know, I don't think you want to strike with a guy like Kazimolo Zulu. But having said that, I mean, Zulu didn't look that well in his last fight. It's the first time I've actually seen him a little bit out of shape. So there's so many questions to ask, and it's 5-round fight as well. Could we possibly see Zulu getting tied into later rounds? Biko is a very difficult guy to finish. He can take the shots. His neck is so thick. His arms are a little bit short, so it's very hard to submit as well. So, I mean, I think the advantage in the longer fight is for Biko, but in the shorter fights, it's definitely Kazimolo Zulu. We've seen what he did to Craig Nino's nose. I mean, he shattered that nose into pieces. So Zulu, when he shows up, is very, very dangerous, and it's a very, very difficult fight to call, and it's going to be an entertaining fight.
Yeah, from a grappling point of view, let's talk about Biko's takedowns, because for me, his confidence is key, because he's coming off several international wins, as you mentioned. But when Kazimolo Zulu loves striking from distance, and one day some scientist somewhere will do a paper about how a guy as thin and wiry as Kazimolo Zulu is able to put such incredible power into his kicks. But when Lutando Biko has that confidence against strikers and rangy strikers, it just seems that his takedowns are so sweetly timed. His timing of his takedowns, coming under kicks, coming under punches, and getting those singles and those double legs and turning the pipe and taking his opponent down. When he's confident, there's no one who can defend a takedown against Lutando Biko, regardless of your background.
Absolutely. I think the biggest advantage that Zulu has might be also a disadvantage. Obviously, coming from a K1 background, kickboxing, they love to kick a lot. And if you kick a wrestler or a grappler a lot, it's going to take you down. I feel that Zulu needs to throw more boxing shots, straight shots, and then if he's going to kick, rather use the legs for knees, so straight up knees, just in case Biko shoots and then catches that knee, and obviously uppercuts as well, who's going to catch that uppercut if Biko tries to go for the takedown. But Biko is a very smart fighter as well. He understands that he's probably going to throw a lot of feints, try to see how Zulu Boy is reacting in those feints. But Zulu moves a lot as well. He's like circling around. It's not giving you much. When he strikes, man, he's really, really fast. So it's a very difficult fight to predict. I mean, both of them are very smart fighters, and they're really good at what they do. One was the interim champion, and obviously one was the champion. So I feel that both the guys, they felt that, you know, that when you reach the top of the mountain and they want to get there again. So it's going to be a very, very a good fight, and then it's going to be electric.
Yeah, in so many ways, Demar, EFC 89 really will be historic. Well, let's take a look now at the World Sports Betting odds for EFC 89 and start with that co-main event, because I love putting Demart on the spot because I know he's going to lose money like he always does against me. Well, let's start with Kenyeb against Igor Cabeza, because you know both these guys so well. How do you call that fight going?
I mean, I like both of them. Obviously, when you make a pick with guys that you know, they feel like, why didn't you pick me? But I mean, at the end of the day, they're still the ones who are going to step in there and fight. So it's not about what I say, it's what they show. So don't take it badly, guys. You know what it is. I don't want to fight any of you.
They're going to drop to bantam if you get this
know
wrong.
what I'm saying? I don't need that kind of smoke. But realistically, I always bet on the grappler. That's my theory. I feel that Igor has got a better chance at winning this fight, just because he was a champion for so long, lost to legit guys, and then I think the wrestling, just the fact. He can, having looked at Aniset's last fight, he got out-wrestled by Ilunga, and Igor Cabeza is a better wrestler than Ilunga, I think, by far. So I feel that Cabeza has got a better chance at winning this.
Well, I've always said what a massive Igor Cabeza fan I am. I think he is the best wrestler ever to come out of the continent of Africa. But Aniset Kenyeb, we didn't see the real Kenyeb in the last fight. He wasn't on his game. I think something the BIA are building there in terms of his training partners. I think the camp is going to play a lot of factor into this fight, and I am going to disagree with you, my friend, and go with Kenyeb. But let's take that theory about always putting money on the wrestling as a good tip there. I'm not sure if I would always go with it, but let's take your theory, Demar, about always putting the money on the wrestler and look at the main event between Nkazimula Zulu and Lutando Biko. You're going to take Biko for this one based on that, are you?
You know, they say for every rule there's an exception, right?
You wormed out of it.
So I'm going to use that theory, that exception. I just feel that, Biko is a very good fighter, honestly, and he grinds out his wins. But having said that, I think the experience that that Zulu boy has, it's going to be enough for him to win this fight. He just has to just show up, I believe, be the best that we've seen him be. I think he can even just outstrike him the whole fight, just keep the fight on the feet. But it's a very risky bet, to be honest, this one. So go for the one you like.
It is a tough one to call. I think Zulu now back at the tribe, having a great fight camp, is going to be a very, very different fighter. But then again, we've seen Lutando Biko. He's shown the past couple of fights that he's got a great chin. Yeah. And he can wade through a lot of strikes to actually take your opponent down and ground and pound him. It's a tough one to call, but I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to go with Lutando Biko.
So you're going with the wrestler, then you're following my rule.
Yeah, I am actually. I'm a hypocrite, but I'm going with the hero from Koberga. Yeah. Well, Demar, thanks again. It's always been fun and insightful talking to you on the Countdown Show. Cheers, bud.
Thank you, bud.
Well, that wraps it for our official Countdown Show for EFC 89. Don't forget, you can check all EFC's social media accounts and EFCworldwide.com for all the fight information. We're going to see you right here at the EFC Performance Institute in Johannesburg in the glorious Republic of South Africa on September the 11th for EFC 89. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Cheers for now.
The countdown to EFC 89 Zulu versus Biko, Cabeza versus Kenyeb has begun.